Okay, it's finally time to start my YZ250F 2024 bike build series, where I'll go in depth with the bike setup in many different areas of the setup, and I'll do a short separate video on each area of the bike, such as engine mapping and engine tuning and handlebar setup, foot peg setup, and also the custom seat that I have made for the bike. So I'm really excited to do all these videos, and hopefully I'll help a lot of you guys get more happy riding your YZ250F. There's going to be a playlist that you can see all the videos in and easily find them. And a lot of these modifications are a little bit unique, and I would say maybe untraditional to what a lot of people do. For example, the seat, it's completely custom, and I will go through the measurements and how I made it. And also I made the bike go really fast just through engine mapping and drilling holes in the airbox, for example, instead of buying exhaust system to the bike. So I didn't yet buy an exhaust system because I wanted to see how much I can get out of the bike first. But this video is going to be about the foot peg area and foot peg modification and setup of what I call the leg connection. So both foot pegs, brake pedal, shifter, and also a couple of little things I want to talk about with the bolts that can help you feel better with controlling the bike. So let's get started. You could say that foot pegs is the most important part of the bike, because that's where around 90% of the forces that you apply into the bike, meaning your body weight, and muscling the bike around with the legs, they go into the foot pegs. So this connection has to be really strong and really reliable. And for that reason, I've sharpened the foot pegs, and I will also put some footage on where you can see the before and after and the process in just a minute. If you look under the boot here, you can notice that you're actually not standing on most of the foot peg if you have the correct foot position, where your foot is all the way in towards the frame, touching the frame. Then you're actually standing on the very outside of the foot peg and then on the bracket here. So the modification that I recommend is to cut the upper part of the bracket that's not doing anything useful anyway, to cut that off, to avoid standing with the boot on there. Because if you look at my boot here as well, you can see right here, I don't know how well you can see it on the camera, but right here, that's where I'm standing on the bracket. And I got 16 hours of riding on the bike, and if I keep standing here, I got up to maybe 50 hours or 100 hours, it's probably going to eat through the boot. And also it's going to feel awkward. It actually does feel awkward to stand on the bracket. I can feel that I'm not fully connected with the foot peg when I'm riding. And I think this is because Yamaha, they decided to lower the foot pegs 5mm. I guess they made the foot peg lower, and then the bracket still sticks up. So I hope if Yamaha, if you're watching this, I know you're making the best bike probably in the world, the best 250F in the world, but consider for next year to redesign the bracket. Over here on the right side is a similar story, but it's a little bit better over here. So you can see it like this. There's also a bit of air, but because there's the brake pedal here on this side, it sticks out, it moves your boot further out, so you only have to cut off a small portion, actually grind off a small portion of the bracket here, and then you can make more contact with the foot peg. So that's what we're going to do in the end of the video, but let's first talk about some other stuff. But as you probably know, a lot of pro riders, they replace the foot pegs with, for example, Raptor foot pegs. But I would argue that just modifying the stock foot pegs yourself in the correct way will make them even better than Raptor foot pegs, in the sense that they will not destroy your boots as quickly. Because I made them sharp, but not razor sharp. Okay, so they're not going to eat through your boots in just a 1 hour session. Okay, so foot pegs sharpening with an angle grinder is step number 1 for making a better leg connection. And then I like to always adjust my controls, like the brake pedal and the shifter, about 2 inches above the foot peg. This just really fits my riding style and effortless braking, because I really move my hips far back when I brake. And for that reason, you're going to end up having a high toe position. And in some cases, you won't even be able to find the rear brake pedal if you're in the correct body position for braking. So the rule of thumb, or should I say the rule of 2 fingers, for me is adjust the brake pedal almost to the highest position possible, or 2 fingers, like seen from here, right? And you can see in here, it's almost the highest position possible. By Yamaha here, okay? Shout out to my new sponsor, Ref 100. Okay, so over here, I have a little tip, and that is to replace this bolt. I already did it before. It looked like one of these bolts, but now I replaced it to a lower profile bolt that is about 2mm further in towards the bike, so it's not sticking out and catching on your boot, because the original bolt was sticking out 2 millimeters, which was enough to catch on your boot maybe one time every riding session. It just got caught, which throws your body off balance when you're changing your body position. So that's like a really important tip that I'm not sure I've seen anywhere else on YouTube. So replace this bolt to a more flat bolt, like they actually did up here, Yamaha. For this bolt, they chose an actual flat bolt. And then again, same thing over here. With the height of the shifter, I've moved it one position up. You can see here. These dots, they were aligned from factory, but I moved it up one position. So one spline upwards, which makes it a lot easier to upshift while standing. So you don't have to struggle trying to get your boot under. Of course, a lot of upshifting is done from the sitting position, but it should also be easy to upshift, in my opinion, when you're standing up, especially if you're riding a rhythm section. If you need to upshift while you're standing up in the air, that's something I do quite a lot on the track I'm riding. This position makes that a lot easier. Also, if you want to do an advanced skill such as upshifting to panigraph to lift the front higher, this would also make it favorable to do that. Okay, and again, sharpen the foot peg and the 2-finger rule. I don't know if we can see it like this. Okay, now I'm gonna show you the before and after condition of the foot peg teeth. Here you can see they're pretty rounded and they don't look sharp, right? So they'll actually be slippery in the rain. The teeth on the brake pedal were good from factory, so no need to modify. So how I do it here, as you can see, is I grind each tooth on the foot peg, both on the left and the right, and make sure I use the correct angle. And then I constantly check how much sharper it gets. And then I'm just gonna stop when it starts to look really sharp, and then I'm gonna check it after it cooled down. But careful not to burn your hand, but then I'm gonna check it by hand. If it feels sharp, then it's good, and then I'll do the next one. So then I'll just continue going through all the teeth one by one, and be very careful not to accidentally cut your bike. You can also see here I protect the bike from the sparks. I mean, it doesn't really matter much with the sparks, but I don't want all that metal dust in there. So here you can see the teeth after I'm done. And then the final step that's actually really important, don't forget this, and that is to use a file. And then you just file every teeth that looks a bit too sharp, and then you check it by feeling it with the finger. If it's not feel sharp anymore, but it looks sharp, then it's perfect. So you want them to look sharp, but not feel like they're really sharp on your skin, because then it's also going to be good for your boots. Okay, so now I will grind the right side of the foot peg bracket. And notice I use a grinding disc on the right side. And then you can see this is what it looks like afterwards. And then I'm testing with the boots to see how well it aligns. And I decided to lower it a little bit further afterwards. So I'll cut a little bit more off, or grind a bit more off. And then on the left side here, on the shifting side, I'm using a cutting disc to cut in to the bracket like this. And notice I'm gonna be very careful not to cut into the frame. So I'm using a very slow technique at the last bit, and then I stop before I actually cut through it completely. And then I'll just use a pliers to bend it and wiggle it a little bit to get it off like that. And that way you can see I didn't even touch the frame. And it looks really good, especially after I polish it now. This is a polishing disc with sandpaper on. As you will see, it actually gonna look like it's made from factory like this. Now the boot looks like it's gonna make full contact with the foot peg. That is so cool. I'm very happy with this modification, and I think you guys might be that too. So look, now it's more flush, so it's more aligned here. So I shaved off about 10 millimeters up here that I was standing on before. Still looks structurally very strong, so no problems there. Maybe Yamaha, they will do exactly the same design next year. I also lowered this one. I cut this one a little bit lower as well. And I think it also looks good. And polished it a bit with the polishing disc. So nicey. Yeah, so that was all about foot peg setup. There's now 2 ways you can train with me personally. The first one is you can join the Fast Club, as I talked about in another video already. And that is done by clicking the join button and then selecting Fast Club Online Coaching. Then you can train with me online and I'll review your riding footage and then I'll give you a personalized program on how to improve your technique based on your current level of riding technique. And the second way you can train with me is in person physically, where you sign up for a coaching package where we work on everything from your riding technique, your fitness and your nutrition, so your diet plans, and also things such as how to maintain and set up your bike. And if you like riding off-road and enduro, you will also be able to ride with me in beautiful nature. And actually you can also work on a lot of your riding techniques while you're doing enduro. And this is something I teach that is a bit unique compared to other coaches, is that actually when you're riding enduro, you have a lot more time to focus on your technique without riding at high intensity. So if that sounds cool, look at the information in the description. Send me a message on the email in my About section on my YouTube channel or fitcamp5.com, or follow me on Instagram, FastCoachToby. In any case, thank you for watching. Hope to see you in the future for training, either in person or in Fast Club Online Coaching. Thank you so much for watching and see you on the next one. To watch the full version of my advanced riding videos and support the development of this channel, click the join button below and become a member. And thereby you will get access to exclusive videos where I go through the most advanced skill levels and also explaining things from a physics standpoint, because I have a background in science and thereby studying physics. So I'm able to explain actual riding technique and the mechanics of riding, also bike setup, in a way that you don't see on many other channels. Also, I share my own step-by-step methods on how I track my own progress and riding technique development. So if you're interested in that, consider becoming a member and clicking the join button. And if you like tropical island holidays, visit fitcamp5.com for my 2-time TripAdvisor award-winning training camp, where we train fitness and action sports together while learning to live a healthy lifestyle and, maybe most importantly, have fun at the same time. And if you're really serious about improving yourself, you should definitely check out my full online courses, where I share step-by-step programs on how I developed my own routines over the last 12 years as a CEO, working in 4 different countries, while being a successful competitive athlete with more than 20 years of experience in fitness and nutrition. Check the link in the description for that. And in any case, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, be awesome, believe in yourself, and see you on the next one.